Hi everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. Now in this video I thought it would be interesting. I've seen online several times, so I thought I would finally make a video on one, and I'm probably going to make more because I just find it's always interesting to talk about a topic like this. And what is that? These questionnaire quizzes that I found that I'm always finding, is it a cult? So I decided to do one of them tonight because I'm just just every time I look at these and go through them, it's always like, wow, ding, 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 like check, check, check. Like it's always 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 100 out of 100. So I just want to show, I think doing all these quizzes will just show like, wow. Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witnesses, like it really is a cult or a false religion or whatever you want to. I forget what the other term instead of cult is nowadays, but still, anyway, so for this one, is it a cult? So there's 10 questions altogether, so I wanted to go through each one of them. Okay, so the first one, does the base show unquestioning or zealous commitment to its leaders? And of course, yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, the Jehovah's Witness members are to hold the governing body members in very high regard. Before the age of JW broadcasting, they were more, the governing body was more like mysterious, like just men that, 8 men. I admit I never had all the members memorized back then. I did when they started coming out more and doing more videos, and before JW broadcasting they would make a movie every few years in the governing body. You would see them then, but other than that, not really, but they've always been like, do not question them, obey them. Like the members are expected to put absolute blind trust in them. No independent thought.
All right!
Like almost what I could say is the Jehovah's Witness version of the Pope. That's how I would put it. In the field service, the meeting attendance, studying a must. Like you have to be in good standing. Keep up with the new light, old light versus new light. So that question, so number 1, yes, I would say definitely. Okay, question number 2, is critique, questioning, doubt, and dissent discouraged, ridiculed, mocked? Yes. Oh, yeah, if I may say, hell yeah. The Jehovah's Witnesses tell you they've done all the research, so you don't need to do any research. Don't ever Google Jehovah's Witnesses. No outside research at all. You're forbidden to look at anything. In other words, they don't want you discovering things, and they don't want your critical thinking to be suddenly engaged and lit up. They don't want the alarm bells to go in your head. This is why it's common for some members who have doubts and questions to become the PMOs, physically in, mentally out. I was one. Definitely within the last couple of years, I would say I would definitely be classed as one of those. And even the governing body, they express hatred for the apostates, which just means anybody who leaves that religion. They hate them. They can't wait for them to die, and they can't wait to see them burn up like hot dogs. And they even show an illustration of where he blows out a match that's supposed to represent apostates. Yeah, just very, very hateful. And just the members are told, any outside information, it's not true, it's all false, it's just Satan's lies and apostate lies, so don't even bother looking at it. They just want to keep that mental cage on their members. So number 2, another yes. Question number 3, is deception or disinformation used in excess and serve to suppress doubts about the group and its leader? Yes. Yes. They've in the past, they have been called out for misquoting scholars and scientists in their literature and changing it so that it fits their theology. Even their Bible is an excellent example of this, taken from very corrupt manuscripts, and it was basically made to just fit their own beliefs, essentially, because they couldn't find any other. I always did find they would sometimes accept the King James, but they kind of wanted even members to only use the New World Translation Bible. They're always saying we're in the last days. We're always in the last days. Over 100 years we've been in the last days. And I think their well-known use of the tactics like fear, guilt, urgency to keep members in. It's a good term to describe it would be a fear bubble. They want to make members afraid to even look at inside information. They say all the apostates is all lies and false, and yet they're the ones putting out the disinformation. But their members, very few will. It takes a long time to really realize that for a lot of members, because they're not taught to critically think. So that's number 3 answered. Yes. Question number 4. Is the group elitist, claiming exalted or superior status for itself and the members? Example, the leader called a god or an emperor. Yes. There was the Jehovah's Witness language, their lingo. God's anointed on earth, governing body, the truth, true Christians, God's one true organization, the world empire of false religion, Babylon the Great, Satan's system. Yes, just with the one term, the truth, yes, because they teach only they have the truth. Every other religion is wrong. Everyone who doesn't become a Jehovah's Witness will die at Armageddon. They're the one true religion, and you have to go to them if you want to survive Armageddon and live on a paradise earth. Definitely the governing body must be held in very high regard. Like, they're the top guys, like beside Jehovah or Jesus. So, oh yeah. Was it the anointed ones, other sheep? Whoops, sorry. Sorry, guys. You know, just, ugh. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Number 5. Does the group seek to cause harmful and divisive us versus them mentality? Yes. There's lots of scriptures, put on the new personality, the sheep compared to the goats, very black and white thinking that they promote. Every religion is wrong except them. And I often like to make myself laugh by, thinking when I think of stuff like that. Like, it's just ridiculous, Everyone outside of the organization is wicked, don't trust them. It's all Satan's system. The world is out to get them. That one day they're gonna hunt the Jehovah's Witnesses down. I think the JW Broadcasting, they've definitely put out some videos that could definitely be classed as propaganda, because they depict Jehovah's Witnesses, like they're high up, like they're the only ones that got it, that has it right, and the government's out to get them because of this. And it's just ridiculous. Like the government's gonna, like, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the videos are always being persecuted or under attack in some form, or their struggles to stay separate, like be no part of the world, is a term they use. So, like, outside of work or school or like necessary things, they're to have little contact with the outside world. Again, gotta keep them in that cage. So number 5. Yep, definitely another yes. Number 6. Is the group preoccupied with making money for the leaders? Yeah. The literature in the early 1900s, like way back when they started the literature that they handed out in the door-to-door work or the preaching or on the streets, like, people had to pay for it. And it wasn't always free like it is today. And Watchtower has lots of stock in lots of companies. It makes a lot of sense that it actually makes a lot of sense, and didn't really surprise me that much that they had to be making money in other ways besides just the voluntary donations. There's always pressure. I believe like there's a Watchtower every year that always has lots of information on ways you can leave your money to them when you die. Like, man, take every last penny from you. And there's always that about that meeting. So I hated those where you agree. I forget what they. Resolution, yeah, like always passing a resolution for a monthly amount that each member had to give. And then I think all the real estate, all the money they're raking in by selling off all their kingdom halls and cutting down on how much literature they're printing. Oh yeah. Oh, and the big thing I always think of at the assemblies and the conventions, how there was always a deficit. Like, come on, guys, really? yeah, it really costs 10,000, 20,000 to rent to use this facility for one day. Like, come on, get real, guys. Well, even back then, my bullshit alarm was going off big time. Okay, question number 7. Are group members participating in behaviors or activities considered reprehensible or unethical? The best couple of answers I could think of for this one would be the no blood. You know, the Bible says to abstain from blood, but it's more just saying to not eat blood. It's not saying to not even put it in your veins. And a question some might ask today would even be like, what about breastfeeding? Because when a mother's doing that, the baby is actually taking in white blood cells, I believe, which would count as part of the blood. Like, and it's crazy. I would compare it to sacrificial type behavior where they'll allow a family member to die because they cannot take blood, or they can't get an organ transplant. It's crazy. And the other thing I thought of would just be probably a good answer for this is their isolating of members. You know, they control all aspects of your life, their members' lives, from their jobs to their hairstyles, dress, how their makeup, what music and movies they can watch, reading, sports, no holidays. Like, and it's really just, no outside friends. You know, the fear of the outside world. You know, the mind control techniques they use is very subtle and slow, so you don't notice it right away. I think for some of you, like, yeah, it's easy to laugh at that, but I think the reason a lot are sucked into cults like the Jehovah's Witnesses, like, even for myself as example, it's because things like mind control, you don't notice it right off the bat. Like, it's a very slow, subtle process. And by the time you fully realize what's going on, it's too late, as I could say. It's actually a very effective tool that many cults have used, even other than Jehovah's Witnesses. So, and it's obviously been very effective. So question number 8. Is shame and or guilt used in order to influence and or control members, often through peer pressure? Yes. Yes, you have to have a tattletale attitude expected of your fellow brothers and sisters. You know, you catch or see them doing something bad, you gotta report it. Yep, make sure you report it. Report them to the elders. There's even a term, spiritually weak. They even, not only can you only have Jehovah's Witness friends, they even tell you that they really strongly advise you to only maintain friendships with those who are considered spiritually strong and in good standing. Just always dangling that carrot of paradise in front of you, but you got to make sure you're in good standing. And you'll always have this, with the constant anxiety that you're not good enough, that you got to keep reaching and doing more to make sure that you measure up and you're good enough. And the preaching work. You're blood guilty if you're not preaching enough and bringing ones in, because as a Jehovah's Witness, only your religion is right, so you have the duty to try to save people. Okay, question number 9. Do members believe there is no other way to proceed and fear reprisals? Yes. They make, as Jehovah's Witnesses, it's easy to get in, but it's very difficult to leave, especially if for ones that have family members in it. You know, any who leave will be shunned, even if it's your own family members. They'll destroy your reputations. They'll make sure that you're regarded as nothing but a horrible person for ones who do leave. You know, they strongly pressure the confession of any sins or wrongdoings ones may have committed, that you have to go and confess it and go to the elders, like in a judicial committee if necessary. And how they refer to disfellowshipping as God's loving discipline, where it's, I'd say, the very opposite of that. It is very harmful, destructive, and has caused many people great depression, and unfortunately has led to some suicides, unfortunately. And number 10, the last question. Is the leader not being held accountable to any authorities while other respected denominations? Is the leader not being held accountable to any authorities unlike other respected denominations? Yes. The child abuse and the pedophile cases are prime examples. They'd rather, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they would rather pay fines than release their database and all these records. They'd rather destroy all these to keep them hidden. The reasoning behind that is because they believe it's Jehovah will take care of it in his due time. Like, it's all, leave it in Jehovah's hands. They want to shut up anybody who puts them in a negative light. They would rather just reach a settlement out of court with people, with like anyone who tries to take them to court. They'll rather than defend, or they'll just try to delay it. But they need to be held accountable. They're using outdated things like the 2-witness rule that shouldn't be applied to things like child sex abuse and the pedophiles. It's just wrong. And I believe recently, like in Australia, the only reason they agreed to join a redress, I believe it's called, the Jehovah's Witnesses down there, is because they don't want to, is because if they didn't, they would lose their tax exemption status, and that would take a lot of their money. Yeah, it's just, they cannot admit their wrongs. Guys, just they're false prophets with a perverted Bible translation, and rather than admit these lies and mistakes, they seek to cover it up, excuse it, deny it, and they go even as far as trying to erase their own history. So what would be so those are all the questions. And what would be the best advice to determine if you want to determine whether a religion is a cult or, or false. Like when you're, let's say, ask questions, do your research. Don't try to dismiss all your doubts. It's healthy to have doubts. It is important to develop things like critical thinking and to analyze it from all around, all aspects. I can liken it to when you're going to buy something online or go to a restaurant. What do? You look at the reviews, the customer reviews, people who have been there, bought in the product, or eaten at that restaurant. Like, these are coming from people who have experienced it and they're just giving their honest review and thoughts on it. And I'd say the same with ex-members from Jehovah's Witnesses. We've been there, we've done that. Been there, done that. I know what I'm talking about. I lived this for 18 years. And just like I always say, I'm putting my voice, out there because I do not want to be called a liar when I am telling the truth, and Watchtower are the ones that are lying to you. And I want that to be known. So anyways, thank you for watching my video. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I hope you guys all have a good week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.